Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2025. I'm happy to be here. My name is Benga Adeyemo, and today I'm going to be sharing my experience with you using calculation group in Power BI. Now, what is calculation group? Calculation group in Power BI are a feature of tabular models that allows you to create reusable logic for calculations, simplifying and organizing your measures, right? Calculation groups helps you to simplify and organize better your measures, right? And look at this, it allows you create reusable logic for your calculations. Okay, they are typically used to reduce redundancy and enhance flexibility in your data model. Now, what are some of the key features of calculation group? Number one, dynamic calculations. You can apply a single calculation across multiple measures without creating individual measures for each. For example, you want to see your year-to-date total sales, your year-to-date total cost, your year-to-date profit, right? Your quarter-to-date total profit, total sales, and all of those kind of things, right? Number two, it simplifies your data model, right? It replaces multiple measures with a single calculation group, right? Reducing the clutter in your model. Number three, customizable formatting. It helps you define specific formats for each calculation. For example, whether currency, percentage, blah, 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 depending on the specific format you want to use for your calculations. Let's go ahead. How does it work? A calculation group consists of a table with a single column. For example, calculation type. Each row in this column represents a specific calculation. For example, year to date, quarter to date, year on year, etc. It means that the calculation group consists of a table with what? A single column, right? And each of the row in this column represents different calculations, right? Now, that expression defines how the calculation is applied to selected measures. It means that you have to write a DAX expression, right, that will define how this calculation is applied to the different measures that you have in your model. Now, let's look at some examples of some use cases, all right, of calculation group. For example, you might create a time intelligence calculation group that helps you simplify common time-based calculations like your year to date, quarter to date, month to date, year on year, week to date, blah, blah, blah. Number two example here is dynamic measures. For example, you might want to create a calculation group that allows you to switch between different aggregations like your sum, your average, your count, your distinct counts, and different kind of aggregations that you can think of, right? Custom metrics. Now with calculation group, another example is that you might want to create reusable metrics such as percentages or index values. Now, what are the benefits of calculation group? You might be looking at it like, do I need to learn this stuff? Is it really important? It is. It's very interesting, right? It simplifies your work. Number one, efficiency. It helps you reduce the number of measures, improving manageability because you can better manage your measures, right? Flexibility. Calculation group allows you to, dynamically apply calculations to multiple measures, right? Which is something very interesting. Consistency. It ensures uniform calculation across the model. I'm going to show you with a practical example how calculation group work in Power BI. Okay, so I'm going to connect to my data source now. Excel workbook, calculation group Excel. I click on open. I have two tables there. I have the channel table and I have the sales table. My navigator is going to come out now. Good. Now, let's preview the channel table. It has the channel key and the channel name. Each of the channel key represents the different channel name, right? Okay, we have channel key 1 to 4. On the sales table, we have the date of the transaction, the quantity, the unit cost price, the unit selling price, and the channel key. So the similar key to sales and channel table is the channel key, right? So I'll check box the channel table, the sales table. I'll click on transform data in order to create some transformations, right? That will open the Power Query Editor window for me. Then I'll start with the sales table. Oh, the date column looks good. It's in date data type. So I'll make sure I change this to column profiling based on the entire data set to make sure everything looks good, right? The quantity is good, unit cost is good, unit selling price is good. The channel key should be in text because it is an identifier, right? Replace current. This is okay. I go to my channel table. I also change this to text because this is a unique identifier. Okay. Now everything looks good. I'll click on close and apply. That takes me to my Power BI desktop. So I'll allow this to load for a few seconds. Load, 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 load. Okay, so when this is done, the next thing I'm going to do is to create a relationship between the channel table and the sales table. Okay, that is already done automatically because of the settings I have. Okay, now let me just make sure everything looks good. Let me double click here to see. Okay, this is a many to one relationship, channel key, channel key. Okay, save, everything looks good. Now the next thing I want to do now is to create a custom calendar table. You know, different organizations, they have different custom calendar table for their, for their different, activities. So some people, their fiscal months might start from maybe March, some April, some August, some in October. But in this scenario, we are assuming that the fiscal year month starts in October 2024, right? Today is January 4, 2025, right? And the, uh, you know, it's at as at today, right? So now what we're going to do is to create a custom calendar table, which I already have the calculation here. Uh, I'm just going to copy and paste it from where I have it. So now click on new table, then I just come here to my notepad. I already have it here, Control A, Control C. I'm just going to paste that so I won't be using this to waste your time, right? So look at this. You see that expression I wrote here. So the fiscal year months start from October 1st, 2024 till date. This is today is the 4th of January 2025, right? Okay, so let's go and look at how that looks like. So I'll go to my table view. You see my calendar. So October is going to be the fiscal month is going to be 1, of course, right? Fiscal year 2024, and the fiscal quarter is going to be 1 because October is the first month in this fiscal year, right? So let's go to January. January should be quarter 2, right? January should be month 4, right? Fiscal year remains 2024. Everything looks good. Everything looks good. So let me go to my data model now and establish a relationship between calendar and the sales table. Is a date column in both tables, and this is going to be one to many relationship, right? I click on save, everything looks good, right? So now I'll create 4 simple measures. Let me make sure they are on the sales table. I'll click on new measure. So I'm going to be creating measure for total sales, total cost, profit, and total quantity. So I'll start with my total sales, which is going to be equals to sum x, right? The sales table, right? Comma, my expression is the quantity column in the sales table multiply by the unit selling price in the sales table. I close my brackets, I click on enter. I have my total sales measure here, right? I also click on new measure again, right? And I'll create measure for total cost, okay, is equals to sum x also. The sales table, my expression is quantity, right? In the sales table, multiply by the unit cost price, right? I close my brackets, I press enter, right? I have my total cost. Then I create a new measure again. I'm creating a composite measure now for profits, right? Profits, and I'll say equals to the total sales minus what? The total cost. And I press enter. Profit looks good. Then I go and create another new measure, the last one. I call this one quantity, total quantity now. Total quantity, and I say equals to, this one is going to be the sum of what? The sum of the quantity column in the sales table. Okay, everything looks good. And the next thing I will do now is to bring in my matrix table, right? I'll bring in my matrix table, I'll expand that a little, and I'm going to bring in the channel name from the channel table, right? I'm going to bring in channel name from the channel table, and I'm going to bring in all these measures now. So total sales here, so total cost here, profits here, and what again, total quantity measure. So I have this 4 here now. Let me make it bigger. Let me collapse this. Let me make it bigger. I go to values. I increase the size. Right. Oh, looking good now. Let me increase the size a little bit more. Nice. Let me increase it a little bit more. Good. Okay. I can make it bold if I want to make it bold. Or should I make it bold? No. Okay. Then let me go to column headers. I can make that bold. I can also increase the size of that also. I can also increase the size of that, right? Then I'm going to go to row headers. I'm also going to make that bold, right? And also increase the size. Everything is looking perfect. Everything is looking perfect. Okay, I have this now, right? So how does calculation group now come into the scene? Now I want to create a time intelligence calculation group that has different calculations like for year to date, month to date, week to date, quarter to date, and maybe for because the fiscal month starts in October, so I want to see specifically October, right? To see the figures across all of these measures, right? So what I'm going to do now, so I can create calculation group in two ways. I can create it using Tabular Editor. If you have already installed Tabular Editor on your local computer, you can go to external tools here and click on Tabular Editor, right? Or you can just come to your model view here and you will see calculation group. You can create it directly inside the Power BI desktop. But I'm going to show you today how to create it with using Tabular Editor, right? So I click on external tool, I click on Tabular Editor, right? So the Tabular Editor is going to show all the tables you are connected. So now I'm on the Tabular Editor window. It's going to appear like this. You can expand the window if you want to, right? The video today is not about Tabular Editor in depth. It's just to show you how to use it to create calculation group, right? So you go to tables here, you'll see all the tables you have in your data model, right? Now you will see the relationships, you will see data sources and everything. Now just let's leave all this other part for now. Just right click on tables, click on create new, you see calculation group, right? You can name this time intelligence, time intelligence. I press enter. Then you expand it again. You will see calculation item, right? Right click this and click on new calculation item. Now let's start with year to date, for example, right? We come here and say calculate, right? We use selected measure because we are not referring to any specific measure, right? Open and close bracket, comma, and I say date YTD. I open bracket, right? Calendar, it's my calendar table, open square bracket, dates, right? Now dates, I close my square bracket. Now don't forget that here you have to specify the end date of the previous fiscal year, right? Notice the assumption is that this fiscal year we are dealing with now starts October 1st, 2024, right? So it means that the previous fiscal year date ended on the 30th of September, right? So I open my double quotes, 30th September 09, and I close my double quotes, I close my brackets, and I checkbox this, and everything looks good. Okay, I will just copy this and create another one, another calculation for my month to date. So I right click calculation items again, new calculation item. I call this one month to date, right? So we'll just come here, copy paste it. I don't need to specify this one because the context already works with the current month, right? So I just come here, change this to MTD, right? So I need to close the bracket one more time. I check this and I save. Everything looks good. Let me create another one for week to date. So for my week to date, I already have a calculation I wrote somewhere. So I'll just come here and just Control A, Control C this, and come here, Control V, right? Paste it there. I checkbox this. This is my week to date. Everything looks good. Let me also do for my year to date, month to date, week to date. What other one again can I do? So let me create another one, assuming they only want to see for a specific month. So let's say I want to just see for October, for example, right? I can say calculate, right? Measure, selected measure, open and close bracket again. Then I'll say filter, just like we write it in Power BI desktop. Filter, what am I filtering? The calendar table, right, comma, calendar table again, right, open my square brackets, this is going to be the month column this time around, and I close the square brackets, I say equals to October, right, close my square brackets, close bracket two times, and I press enter, I checkbox that, then I click on save. Everything looks good. So I have how many calculations here now? 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go and see how this works now. I click on save, right? So I'll come here, I can close this or minimize. So what I just created now, it's appearing the on our Power BI desktop, right? So I'll just bring in my slicer charts. I'll bring in my slicer, right? And I'll just expand this time intelligence calculation group I created, and I'm going to just drop it here. Wow, what do you see? You see all of the calculations here. Now, based on that, now I can click on each one. I want to see year to date, for example. I click on year to date, right? This is looking good. It's the same thing will appear definitely because we are still in that current fiscal year, right? Let me see week to date. Wow, this is week to date is going to be it's going to be, let's look at the calendar. That is going to be from uh, Sunday 29th of December to today 4th of um, January 2025, right? The October, this one is if I click on this one, it's going to show me the October figures across all of these measures. My total sales measure, total cost measure, profit measure, total quantity measure. If I want to see month to date, right? Wow, month to date is the current month where I am at the moment, which is January. So you see that I can view all of these calculations over all of these measures, over all of these measures. So that is interesting, right? So this is calculation group for you, right? So please do like, share, and subscribe to this channel. In my next video, I'm going to be showing you how to create calculation group inside of Power BI Desktop without having to use Tabular Editor. Thank you. See you in my next video. Bye.